I was asked by Garden of Knowledge Malta Association and its president, Cynthia Salum, to read her discourse in English. Allende is alive. History cannot be detained neither by repression nor by death. September 11, 1973. Thank you for having responded to our invitation for this event. It is for us a great pleasure to address you this evening here in Malta with a very warm welcome. This September 11 marks, as many don't know, the 41st anniversary of the US organized military coup that overthrew the elected left-wing government of Salvador Allende and installed a brutal dictatorship headed by General Augusto Pinochet in 1973. We are the survivors. We speak. We have a memory to be transmitted, who must live, which is a powerful tool to consolidate it and build the future. We, as Garden of Knowledge Malta Association, believe that young generations worldwide should recognize this part of Latin American history as part of universal history, of the unique history of democracy and the socialist movement. For the first time, Chileans felt they were part of history and participating on something very special. We wanted to present to the Maltese public this event for the first time, as we strongly hope that it will contribute toward a better understanding of Chilean history and, above all, on the issues and struggles that people are confronting worldwide as a result of US imperialism and its different manifestations. We know now that imperialism has many faces, but one goal: the capitalistic worldwide domination and control of resources. September 11 is a date forever associated with mass murder of civilians, and this was the case nearly 3 decades before the 2001 terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers in New York. September 11, 1973 was the start of a nightmare for Chileans, as a reign of terror crushed left-wing groups, trade unions, and popular organizations. Left-wing activists and government supporters were hunted down and killed. The official death toll of Pinochet's terror is about 3,200. Many thousands more were jailed and tortured. The popular reforms of Allende's government, which nationalized key sectors of the economy and raised wages for many workers, were reversed. With the workers and democratic movements destroyed, Pinochet's regime turned Chile into a neoliberal laboratory. Allende was elected in 1970 as the candidate for Popular Unity, an alliance of 5 parties, including Allende's Socialist Party and the Chilean Communist Party. Fearing the threat to corporate interests and the growing confidence of Chile's working class, US authorities and Chilean capitalists worked from the start to undermine and sabotage the government. The US military coup imposes an ultra-liberal economical model which was extended to almost all the countries in its sphere of influence, including Europe. A US-backed program of deregulation, privatization, and a huge shift of wealth to the rich was implemented, becoming a template for the rest of Latin America. Privatization of the state property from water, energy, education, health, from transportation to communications, cover all areas of economic benches as fisheries, farming, mining, bank, insurances, while controlling media is considered as a weapon of great power to get the consensus of the neoliberal policies. The method adopted to destroy popular political groups, political parties, organizations, unions, student federations that traditionally had great weight in Chile were imposed through torture, murder, disappearance, and forced exile of thousands of Chileans. The brutal repression which caused worldwide voices of protest against the dictatorship of Pinochet were widespread and permanent. Although Pinochet's rule ended in 1990, the legacy of the brutal class war is still felt today, with ordinary Chileans facing neoliberal policies and state repression. However, the huge student protests that broke out last year, challenging the anti-poor neoliberal education system, shows that a new generation is emerging, no longer coward, but willing to fight. Despite the horror the US imposed with the help of local elites in Chile and elsewhere in Latin America, the people of Latin America have not been defeated. In recent years, a continent-wide movement against US domination and corporate exploitation has grown. In its most advanced sectors, in Venezuela, Bolivia, and Ecuador, governments have come to power backed by mass movements determined to challenge Western corporate power, redistribute wealth, and move to empower the poor. Unsurprisingly, each of these governments have faced coups by US-backed forces, but in each, the horrific events of September 11, 1973 have been turned on their heads. The people defeated them, and the process of change deepened. It was in Venezuela, emboldened by a mass mobilization of the poor, that defeated repeated attempts by the US-funded opposition to destroy their government, that then President Hugo Chavez declared the goal as to be socialism of the 21st century. The ghosts of Chile's dead would have cheered. September 11, 1973 shows the brutality of the empire, willing to trample on democracy and impose its interests through terror. But recent developments show it is possible to change these interests and win. Thank you very much for all our partners. Żminijietna, Partito Komunista Malti, Sky Group, Ali Benegessen, Medric Gentes, Sonia Salum, Ernesto Grigio, Alexander Todorovic, and all the speakers, Ramona Wadi, Carmelo Borg, and Peter Mayo.